kinds of different things. And there's also some hints about peanut contamination via oil. Now, I've had a couple since I put that post up that basically says, watch out for honey. Start checking your honey to make sure that you are not using honey from China, because that which from China may not really be honey from China. It could be something sweet tasting, but you don't know what you're necessarily getting. And some of it apparently is being snuck into the U.S. and being either sold on the net or whatever. So Cliff's advice is buy from known producers. And I've turned up a Google News alert for honey and China. There may be some food safety issues involved in it. But beyond that, I'm getting some reports from readers who are saying, gosh, I just bought some honey from Australia, or what I thought was honey from Australia, and it turns out that it's not. It says packed in Australia, not necessarily honey from Australia. So we don't really know where this is going to come from, but it'll be something like that, and it's bound to make some headlines here over the next, couple of months when it starts coming out about bad honey.
Well, the thing people, now that we're beekeepers, we've learned this, that the thing people should really know is that you should only buy honey from your local beekeepers in your area, because as we know, honey has a lot of health benefits, immune system particularly, and so if you're having the honey in your indigenous area, that is when it has the best effect, rather than getting it from somewhere else in the world where it doesn't match your environment.
Yeah, we buy our honey from a fellow who has a bunch of hives and runs all over the place. But here in East Texas, lots of folks keep honeybees, and the honey down here tastes substantially different than any of the national brands or brands up in the Northwest where you guys are. I mean, our honey down here is a lot more flowery tasting, I guess.
It's very different from store-bought, controlled.
Oh yeah,
stuff,
yeah. And Cliff is a great fan of something Traditions honey out of Hawaii. It apparently has a very distinctive aftertaste to it that's very tropical, flowery. I'm going to have to get some of that now because I like things like that. And I'm sure you've covered the tremendous improvement in people's response to allergic reactions from the environment by just taking a tablespoon of honey a day.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's got to be locally done honey.
Yeah. So that you can protect yourself that way by go to your local beekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes right along with growing your own food and everything else.
Right.
I mean, that's one way of maintaining health throughout tough times.
And if you have a garden, become a beekeeper. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm trying something different because we've got a lot of acreage here and land that I don't have the goats on. I'm actually throwing a few seeds out around the property, things like squash and watermelons and so forth, because one of the problems with watermelons and squash is in our soil down here. I had 3 squash plants, the little yellow garden squash. Those things got to be 15 feet by 25 feet across.
Wow.
I mean, squash down here go absolutely crazy. And it just about took over my whole garden last year. So this year I'm putting in vertical stuff, like celery or and the beets and the corn and things like that are attractive to raccoons. And I'm doing a test planting of some sugar beet because one of my readers sent me a book, here it is, Alcohol is a Gas. And it's all about how people can make gasohol or convert equipment to run on alcohol. So if you really want to work toward energy independence, you can do it. I think it would be really cool if we had a national leader who would come out and say, you know what, we're going to give a X number of dollar tax break to every family that can prove that it went completely off grid for a minimum of 20 days. And we don't care whether you do it by just turning off the electricity or by generating your own solar, and you can do it at any time of the year when the weather's not terribly bad, but just go completely off grid for, X number of days, document how you've done it, and we're going to give you a tax break because you're helping get America in the direction of energy independence. Would that be cool or what?
Yeah, that's a beautiful fantasy
it's
dream.
real simple. It's really, really dumb simple.
I know.
But when you start thinking about it, it only takes so many of these simple things. But here's the problem we're at in the economy. We have one of two tracks ahead of us. If the American public does not start spending more, and the retail sales report out this morning says people are not spending more, they're spending less, then what that means for business is that the size of business is going to decrease dramatically because business doesn't operate in the red forever. It goes bankrupt just like any other enterprise. And so if we really see a drop in consumer spending of 15 to 20% over the next year to 18 months because of falling confidence, that means when you think about it that we'll have 15 to 20% fewer jobs, and we're already at 8.6% unemployment, or more realistically 16% unemployment, which means we could have literally a third of America unemployed in the next year and a half. Not a happy picture. And that's why Ben Bernanke and Tim Geithner at the Treasury have such a terribly difficult job because they're trying to keep us from auguring into a deflation. And yet at the same time, the business model of America, which is basically pump and dump new products on people and then pump and dump financial products on the rest of the world, it's running into the ultimate wall. How many cars do the two of you have? Nancy, how many do you have?
We have two vans that are 20 plus years old.
Okay, but you have one vehicle per person.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not doing bad.
Actually, it's really one because the older van really doesn't do a lot of driving. It's usually just sitting on the property and only used for very infrequently.
You guys are the exception. Most families have the average couple with teenage kids has 4 cars nowadays. I mean, it's okay, but do we really need to make X number of cars per year?
Well, I've always thought it's so weird that you have people buy a new car every year and trade in the other one, and I just when I bought the van, I loved it. I give it a name, it's like a part of the family.
Okay, what's your van's name?
Vincent.
Really? So it's Van Gogh. I got it.
That's good, yeah. And it's
yeah,
1970.
And see, that's the thing though. You love your vehicle. It's you. It does what you want it to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I gave you $20,000 right now and said, Nancy, what do you want to have for a new vehicle? What would you do with the $20,000? Would you say, oh, I'll run out and buy an XYZ? Or would you alternatively say, I could buy a year worth of food, a nice vacation, we could stock up on this, we could put in new fencing, we could buy a new ham radio set, we could, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What's the best use of $20,000? Give some to the local food bank. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's not go buy a car.
It ain't go buy a car anymore. Exactly. The freedom of the open road, it was nice while it was here in the 70s and 60s, but the days of tripping across America, we're becoming a land of internal borders of some consequence, and people are not traveling and exploring like they once were. I mean, yeah, the RV crowd is still there, but have you seen the price of RVs coming down?
Yes.
Holy smokes, are they getting cheap?
Yes.
we've actually looked at getting an RV. We don't even go camping, but I mean it's like buying a portable house.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean we can pick up a serviceable RV with generator, air conditioner, and a few other things for $7,000. Or we can go down and we can have a carpenter build an addition on the house for the same $7,000. But the problem with having the carpenter do the building on the house is what? You still have to have the wiring, the plumbing, et cetera, and it's not portable. And in the times to come, when we start looking at the longer range predictive linguistic stuff, we may all be having to go portable at some point.
Yeah, the RV is good because it's like a self-contained shuttlecraft that's mobile.
Yeah,
especially if you can convert it to
but then you have the other problem of in the event we ever get to worst case stuff in the economy, or you're going to get fuel to run the RV. I mean, so you kind of come full circle. Do you hunker down and build as I'm building Fortress George, or do you buy Van Gogh Senior and have a bug out strategy? I don't know the answer. I mean, those are the kinds of things that keep me up nights.
Nope, we're hunkering.
Yeah, and if you're at 500 feet or of altitude or above, that's probably a decent thing to think about. Although I'm doing a piece for my peoplenomics.com subscribers this weekend, I'm doing the research on something called continental subsidence. That's where whole continents drop below the waves. And on the other side of it, it's also what takes places like Lake Titicaca, which was once down at sea level, and shoves it up to 11,000 feet over the course of just 3 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of things that really, really happen, and because they haven't happened lately, human beings go, oh, ancient times. Grand Coulee? Yeah, interesting collection of rocks. Couldn't have ever been a big problem, right? Well, unless you're the melting Laurentian glacier. Yeah.
And you know what, George? We're flat out of time again.
We're out of time. Damn.
I know.
I love that response.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, we don't want this to end.
No, we want to keep playing.
Listeners are saying that too.
Well, maybe.
Okay,
they want
thank you, George.
Thank you, kids.
Bye.
And thanks for listening.
We'll see you on the air.